Hi, this is Charlie with Boxing Focus, and yeah, the super fight of the century, the anti-climax, Mayweather win over Pacquiao. I'm disappointed, and I'm not disappointed because Pacquiao lost. I wanted the best man to win, the best boxer to win, and on the night that was Floyd Mayweather. In fact, I was quite glad in some ways that my analysis proved to be on point in some regards. Obviously, I picked Pacquiao to win. That was wrong. I did say that Mayweather wouldn't use the shoulder roll that much. He didn't. I did say he wouldn't use the jab to the body. I don't recall a single one. I did say that he wouldn't use the right to the body. He did throw one that I remembered, and he reached with it and he kind of whipped it back before he fell off balance, and missed as well. So, yeah, it was good to see that I wasn't completely full of bluster by picking up on those points. Unfortunately, it would appear that the fight has panned out in a way that has turned off a lot of casual fans, which I didn't expect it to be a great fight. I expected it to go one of three ways: either Mayweather controlling the distance, which by and large it was, or Pacquiao getting to Mayweather and Mayweather being negative, which, well, you could argue Mayweather was a bit negative late in the fight. Or, an all-action, dramatic fight that was going both ways, ebbing and flowing. And I guess we had that in spots, the fourth round, maybe the sixth. But generally it was one for the purists and the Mayweather fans. So I did enjoy seeing Mayweather and his skills at work, and he definitely stepped it up. This was a better performance than the Maidana fight. Make no mistake about it. This was one of the best performances of Mayweather's career because he was well out of his comfort zone because he didn't have that standard shoulder roll and those go-to punches for establishing distance. Saying that, I went away from the fight very disappointed. Disappointed at first because I could not understand for the life of me the game plan. This mystical 5 years in the making game plan of Mayweather and Pacquiao. There were no right hooks. There was no lateral movement which might have followed on from the right hooks. And don't forget, the right hook is the kind of punch that's required to keep an opponent's jab honest. When you're talking southpaw versus orthodox. So Mayweather was allowed to just jab freely, and Pacquiao was using a lot of upper body movement to make Mayweather miss with the jab and the straight rights. And let's face it, Mayweather missed an awful lot in this fight. People are calling his performance dominant. They're saying he's 10 steps ahead of everybody else. He didn't do that much in this fight. Other than, the main thing was obviously neutralising Pacquiao's offense for the most part. But in terms of his own offense, it wasn't spectacular. He didn't really school Pacquiao. It wasn't like Pacquiao was bust up or broken or really struggling with the ferocity of Mayweather's attacks. Pacquiao was barely marked, as was Mayweather, of course. Mayweather was basically doing just enough to edge the rounds. But then we find out that Manny Pacquiao was injured, which is the really, really disappointing news. That he suffered a right shoulder injury in training, had to stop sparring 3 weeks out from the fight, and then obviously we had that farcical open workout. At the time, I was saying that it reminded me of the David Haye workout. And unfortunately, it seemed to be along those lines that there was that there was an injury, and therefore he couldn't perform properly there, and it's affected him during the fight. It seems that he felt fine going into the fight, but then when he's caught Mayweather with a good left, trapped him against the ropes, smashed him with a body shot, and we've never seen Floyd Mayweather turtle up like that. He felt that body shot. And Pacquiao's going, he's unleashing a fast combination on Mayweather. And you can't tell me Mayweather wasn't feeling those punches, and then Pacquiao backed off. And we find out, his shoulder's gone again. which is why you don't go into fights with an injury, especially a super fight, especially one of the most important fights of your career, one of the biggest fights in boxing history. And you've ruined it for the fans. You've ruined it for the people that supported you. You've ruined it for the casual fans. The only people you've made happy are the Mayweather fans and Floyd Mayweather, who can now walk around boasting he's the best ever because you weren't fit to face him. I mean, now we will never find out if Manny Pacquiao could have beaten Floyd Mayweather, even though we had the chance, because Pacquiao was dumb enough to go into the fight with an injury. It's frustrating as hell. It's made people like myself and other guys who supported Pacquiao, whether, I mean, I was doing it for analytical reasons. I was being objective. I was finding it difficult to pick against Floyd Mayweather. I really was. But I still think Pacquiao had it in him to really take Floyd Mayweather deep, deep in the fight. Take him into deep waters and push him like never before. So we would have had to have seen the best Floyd Mayweather in order to get a victory. But instead, no. His shoulder's gone. He can't use his right hand apart from he seemed to be able to throw it straight with a bit of conviction. And it's ruined the fight for everybody. It's ruined the spectacle. And the joke's now on all of us who gave up money and time and energy, and we won't get to find out. We won't get to find out how the fight could have panned out, because there's no way Floyd Mayweather takes on a rematch. The rematch won't be as big. We won't make as much money. And I think Pacquiao did just enough in this fight. He landed just enough hard shots to make Mayweather think, well, a fully fit Pacquiao might be a bit of a risk, so why bother? And Mayweather's saying he's going to relinquish his titles at 147 and 154, which means he's probably going to fight Miguel Cotto with his final fight and then retire. So, you fucked everybody, including yourself, Manny Pacquiao. Thanks for that. Frustrating and disappointing in that regard. And I don't have sympathy for him. I'm sorry, you've got to cancel the fight. You've got to step up and say, look, I'm sorry, I've injured. It's better for everybody. Alright, it's inconvenient for some people, but they will be thankful in the end, because they wouldn't want to have gone and seen that. They would have wanted to have gone and seen the best fight possible. When George Foreman suffered a cut and the Rumble in the Jungle was postponed, was that fight ruined? No, it's one of the most iconic fights in history, and partly because of it was postponed. Kind of added to it. Probably would have added slightly to this. So yeah, I mean, it's hugely disappointing for everybody. I can't say that I would think Manny Pacquiao would win the fight if he hadn't have had that shoulder problem, because he started so slowly, but at the same time, I think he showed enough to show that he was a serious threat. If instead of backing off after that, whatever 10-punch combination, if he'd at least another 2 or 3 of those, including body shots, which he was doing, those kind of moments sow the seeds of doubt in an opponent's mind, including somebody as gifted as Floyd Mayweather, with as much self-confidence and self-belief. If he's feeling the pain, if he's hurting a bit, those are the kind of things that will stop him being mobile later in the fight, if you can keep up the pressure on him. Instead, you're managing it and you're fighting with a limited offense, and it made Pacquiao a lot more predictable, because he couldn't use the right hook to keep Mayweather's jab honest. He couldn't use the right hand to stop Mayweather slipping out to his left. He was, and he was swinging with his left because he wasn't able to set up the left with the right. And it was frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to hear later on, and it's just a waste of everybody's time. Anyway, this is an annoyed and disappointed Charlie. He's going to finish this by taking my hat off to Floyd Mayweather Jr. for a very good performance. At least he showed up, ready for the fight and gave his all and his best. Manny Pacquiao, I'm disappointed in. You've got to be up front with the fans. before the fight. This is Charlie with Boxing Focus.